How you doing, Sister Faye?
Hello there, how are you?
I'm all right. Where's that accent from, beautiful?
I'm in the UK, but I'm from the Caribbean, St.
Which
Vincent.
island? Caribbean is a big place. Which island?
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay, I've never been to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was in the UK about 3 weeks ago. Did you get a chance to come to my event?
No, I really tried. It was like in 5 minutes, it was all
Yes, ma'am.
sold out.
I will be back there October 21st through the 27th. If you message me, I will be sure to send you the flyer once it's available. And we'll probably be doing a couple of events. So there'll be something in London, probably Birmingham, probably Wolverhampton, Manchester. We're going to try to move around a little bit, but I'm definitely coming back. So I don't want you to miss that. How's it going over there for African people in the
Well,
UK?
I mean, it's quite, I'm sure as you've seen, the recent race riots, but I mean, that's just a manifestation of kind of what has been bubbling over time. And it was an opportunity for them to really kind of show their true colors, because I think here there's a big difference, isn't it, about the racism here is lots of overt and institutional racism,
more psychological.
yeah, which is no less oppressive, but it's nowhere we can compare it to what you're experiencing
not as unapologetic as it is
here. Absolutely. And it's been really interesting hearing your insights, particularly in relation to education, because I'm in that space as well. And many of the same things in terms of how black children are treated in schooling, the way kids are held back, the subtle ways, underlying ways that they are held back is terrible to see. And it's so difficult as a black teacher to work on your own to kind of subvert that system. So my partner's just coming here. So
yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Peace and love, black man. Peace and love.
Is that?
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
Yes, sir.
My brother.
What up, King?
Mr. Umar.
Yes,
how
sir.
are you, sir?
I'm well, brother. What about you?
You know what? I'm always good. It's the others, Dr. Umar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
good
sir.
to see you, man.
Yes,
good
sir.
to see you, man.
Likewise, man.
Not that long ago. I don't know if you remember on Insta, we had a little brief.
Okay. I think so now. Yes, sir.
Cool, man. Are you in London or?
No, sir. America. I'm in the States.
Okay.
But I'll be back next month.
Okay.
I'll be back next month, God willing.
Okay. We love your work, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Very important, very important work that you're doing, man. We
appreciate that.
For real, man.
Appreciate that, King.
Stay safe, man, and stay blessed, my brother.
One love, beloved. Nice. One love.
So yeah, I mean, we really admire, and again, lots of the arguments that you make, we're able to distill them and apply them, obviously not in different contexts, but it's really great how you tease out kind of what's working under the surface,
yes,
right? And particularly about our mindset as well.
Yes.
It's a message of the fact that we aren't unified, even when we are working in the same workplace. We don't really support each other, which is a shame.
Yes, that's true, sister. And we got to change that, or we're going to lose. They're trying to turn us into a permanent underclass globally.
Yes,
globally. They want to make African people a race of irrelevant souls, and they're doing a good job so far. They're doing a good job, and it's everywhere. Everywhere I go, we're under attack. Whether it's the land, whether it's the food, whether it's the police, whether it's the unemployment, whether it's the school system, whether it's the media. There's no place on earth where we are safe, not even in Africa. So we had better get organized, or we will die. Organize or die.
That's it's funny. I was having a conversation with a Ghanaian brother at work today, and whenever we speak about black-related issues, he always wants to focus on the problem, and I'm trying to say to him, we know what the problems are. It's time we start talking about the solution.
Yes.
And he couldn't get it. He couldn't get past this moment. So when you just said that, it resonated with me in terms of we got a lot of work to do. Like we really do. But the work starts here in the mind first. In the mind.
Yes.
There's a difference between, I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've noticed the difference between the black African, wherever they come from in the continent, the British black man, and the American black man. I don't know if you've noticed the difference in mentality between the three.
There are some, but overall, I think the mental condition of the African man globally, I think we have more in common, even in terms of our problems, than we do differences. I think we're far more alike in problem and in solution than we are different. So as I travel, what I find is the brothers and sisters tend to exaggerate how different they are from other groups of Africans. So like, even if I'm in the Caribbean, the brother and sister in St. Croix will try to get me to see how different it is from Jamaica. In Jamaica, they want me to see how different it is from Cuba. In Cuba, they want me to, even in America, California, we're so different from the problems or London is so different from Paris. And I'm like, I done been everywhere. It might look a little different. It might wear a slightly different outfit. But at the end of the day, I see the consistent threads running through them all. So that doesn't mean we cannot engineer our solutions to fit that particular group. We should. But I think we have to make sure we maintain consciousness of the international flavor that exists in all Black issues, because if we don't, it's going to be hard to come together because everybody thinks they're so much different from the others. So to your point, I do see those minute differences, but I see so much more in common beyond them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I listen to you, I listen to a lot of your content and have been for some time. And I think what resonates with me is the message of identity.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's the biggest issue we have. And I think once we are able to overcome identity, the Chinese is the Chinese man is the Chinese man. The Japanese man is the Japanese man.
That's right.
We're the only ones that are fragmented. We don't know who we are. And I believe once we understand fully, we can only be African.
Yes.
Yes, we've been spread across the globe.
And nobody going to let you be anything else either. And that's the thing that gets me. Because I can say I'm American all I want. They're never going to treat me like an American in America. You can say you're British all you want. You will never be treated like British in Britain. You see, so it's like, why do you need to hold on to this?
Exactly.
Because this is superficial and imaginary. It has no basis in reality. Nobody sees an American when they see me. Nobody sees a British when they see you. They see a Black man, Black woman. But because we're so thirsty for validation from the oppressor, we don't want to give that part up because we think we might get something from it sooner or later. So we can't even fathom the possibility of never being accepted. That's what scares Black people. The fact that I may never be accepted by these Caucasians. You never will. But we don't want to admit
it's great.
it. So
that's
Indeed. I'm going to run, y'all, but I want to thank y'all for tapping in.
Thank you so much.
October 21st through the 27th is when I'll be back in the UK. Okay. Message me again, and I'm going to send you the flyer once I have it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, brother and sister. Y'all be safe.
Bye.
All right now. God bless you.
Bye.
All right. Coca Kyra going once. Coca Kyra going twice. Coca Kyra going 3 times. Where's Coca Kyra at? How you doing, Princess? Where you at in the world?
So my name is Kaki Kara. I'm from Philly, though.
Kaki Kara, you in Philly now?
Yes.
All right, Kaki Kara. What part of Philly?
I'm from South Philly.
South Philly. What's on your mind, Queen?
So I have a podcast. I've been to college. I've graduated. I work for a nonprofit. And like you said, we individually can't make as much as the impact as we want, I feel like it has to be community, but I think it starts with education. We are very ignorant, like as a whole. Like even the people that know are still not knowing because, you know, like they say, someone who thinks they know everything knows nothing. So I feel like I see a lot of people say homeschooling, but that wasn't really a solution because in COVID, everybody got left back. So how
Everybody
can we put
was homeschooled and the parents couldn't deal with it and
we
the
can't put
children
that
couldn't wait to
burden
get
on
out them
them.
houses.
Exactly. We can't put that burden on them. So we got to get our Black educators. That's why I'm loving the fact that you're going to build a school. I'm here for it. I can't wait to send my children there when I do have children because I don't have children. So I feel like this is my chance to put my all into my community because I don't have as much distractions as my counterparts maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question to you is, okay, since we're talking about solutions, my podcast, I have a segment where I say, what Black and brown businesses have you supported?
Why are you saying Black and brown?
Because like you said, we are so used to including everybody that has this skin because we are minorities and we think that we're stronger together than separate. But honestly, we need to focus on our community because like you said, it's never been a time where it was
So
just
why do you
us.
keep saying brown?
Because that's something that I'm just now, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Understanding
Okay.
why talking to you. I see that
And we want what's best for the brown, but our priority has to be
we want
ourselves.
what's best for everybody, but we want to get on the same page more than anything. Us, Black,
Right.
African
Right.
Americans, Africans, people from African descent.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that segment made us see how much the Black dollar doesn't come, you know what I'm saying, back into our pockets. It makes us see like, well, dang, why are we not supporting the same people that we want to see succeed? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even when we was fighting for women's rights, it was the white woman in the front and the Black woman in the back. And that shouldn't have been like that if we was fighting for women's rights. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get our organization together, but it can't be loud because we saw how that went. We saw how many cities were thriving and got burnt down or they put water over it. And you know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of people are intimidated because we are capable. I want everybody to stop thinking that we are not capable. We are more than capable of doing it. But every time we do it, there's some type of negativity behind it. We had a Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? We've had things. So I'm tired of people trying to act like we can't do it because we can. It was designed so that it could slow us down. The credit scores just came in the 70s? That was another thing implemented to slow us down so that we wouldn't be on the same
whole
page.
The credit system was created to deny Black people resources.
HOA was created to that if you could afford this house in this neighborhood, we need a housing authority that's going to tell you that you don't quite fit our criteria. So I'm a housing counselor at a nonprofit organization, and I'm trying to get my Black people, my underprivileged people, housing, whether it's transitional housing, temporary housing. I'm trying to get them to be homeowners, you know, because I feel like us having land will be a great thing to start with. I feel like we need to build our own communities. I just graduated from construction school. I was in an apprenticeship. So I know how to build a house from the ground up. I know how to do the rough work. I know how to do the finished work. I can drywall, tape, spackle. So I want to learn skills that I can pass down and not just my knowledge, because I'm learning that I went to school to because they told us go to college, and I'm making the same as somebody that's a high school graduate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not designed. The goal is going to move every time we get closer if we try to seek validation.
Right, unless you have your own.
Unless you have your own. So now that I have all of this in me, it's like, so how do I share this? That's why I started a podcast on YouTube so that our views could be, you know, better explained, or even just so people could see it, because I am young. I'm 26. So it's like, But so how do we start? How do we start? Because I know some solutions, but I want to know, how do we implement the solutions?
Well, the number one, here's the thing. Solutions are not a mystery. The problem
Right.
ain't the solution. The problem is organization is needed to implement the solution.
Right.
That's where the issue is. People say, what's the solutions? That's easy.
Right.
When you have a group of people who are willing to sacrifice time and money, it's easy to fix your problems. Our issue is we don't have the psychological commitment. Black folks don't want the psychological commitment. You know, it's just like somebody who would rather work 50 years at a job instead of spend a couple years to build their own.
And I'm on that
psychological,
path.
they would rather suffer the long term than to suffer the short term. And that's Black people.
We
would rather suffer the long-term racism than the short-term struggle to create our own infrastructure.
I agree with you 1,000%. I am not buying into a program that's going to pay me out at 65. I want to spend my money before 65. I want to be retired and being able to have several different incomes. And so that's why I'm basically working at a nonprofit. I want to share, as a housing counselor, I want to share that financial literacy. I want to share credit building. I want to share just doing workshops. I feel like that just is helping better with the community, the sense of community and sharing knowledge. I'm a community health major, so I'm very community oriented, even though I know like I may have figured out a path. I'm trying to get my sisters and brothers on the same path.
I got you. I got you. Thanks for checking in, good sister.
Yes.
Let's link soon.
Yes.
All right, Mom. Be
you
blessed.
Too.
Appreciate you. Yes, brothers and sisters, the FICO score was introduced in 1989. That's when America started moving towards this credit system. And the purpose of the FICO score, the credit system, the credit score was to deny Black people opportunity. What did I tell you? IQ testing to deny Black children opportunity. Law school testing, grad school testing, all testing is designed to deny Black people opportunity. And when you start scoring higher, they will change the goalposts. Let Black people fix their credit up. Listen to me. Let Black people fix their credit up. Let's say everybody Black has fixed their credit and we now have the highest credit scores in the country. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to introduce a new variable. They're going to introduce a new criteria. They're going to introduce a new scale. They're going to introduce a new factor to make sure you don't get the opportunity. It's the system. This is why we say vote for what? It's the system. This is why we say vote for what? You keep on trying to win in the system when the system gives us the right to build our own systems. Yeah, we can't have our own criminal justice system, but we can have our own school system. When are we going to create our own systems? We're too lazy, too self-hating, too religiously immature to work together and build our own. It ain't about dismantling his system. That is not where your effort needs to be. Stop focusing on destruction and start focusing on construction. Stop focusing on destruction and start focusing on construction. Stop focusing on destruction and start focusing on construction. It ain't about tearing down his system. That's reactionary. Stop being reactionary. Be proactionary. Tearing down his system does not educate your kids. Tearing down his system does not feed your family. Tearing down his system does not eliminate white Jesus. It is not about tearing down what he has. It's about building what we need. Stop being so destructive. We always want to tear something down. That's anger and rage. We need love and commitment. Anger and rage tears down. Love and commitment will build. Anger and rage tears down. Love and commitment will build. Who tapping in? I'm going to do 2 more tap-ins, and then I got to run. 2 more tap-ins. Source of Knowledge Bookstore, Newark, New Jersey, 867 Broad Street, Sunday, September the 15th, 12 to 6. Dr. Umar speaks at 2. Who's tapping in? Managed by Asada, where you at? Managed by Asada, where you at? Tap in, tap in, tap in. I gotta see you in order for us to talk.
Broken. I got my phone in water. Yeah, my phone
Camera
fell in
is
water.
broken. You got your phone in
Right
water.
now I'm
Where
in
you
Los
based at, good
Angeles,
sister?
California, but I'm originally from Cameroon.
You from Cameroon? Okay, because you
No,
said
I'm
I
from
thought you was a
Cameroon. I'm
Latino
black,
sister for a
dark,
minute there.
balsamic black,
I was in Cameroon 1 year
under the
ago in
bed black.
September. I was in Cameroon. Understood.
Sure.
Talk to me, sister. Let me ask you a question. The relationship between immigrant Africans and American Africans in the United States. What is your opinion on the relationship? A lot of American Africans say that when the immigrant African brothers and sisters come here, they can be rude, dismissive, arrogant, condescending, and some immigrant Africans say that the American Africans can be rude and condescending. What is your opinion on the relationship in America between immigrant Africans and American Africans?
Honest, I feel like I've lived in America for 16 years. Serve African American long enough. I lived in Baltimore for about 11 years. I worked with African American women for years, so I've seen the way they react to us African, and I believe the problem here is just education. Like this in the African community, for example, the older Africans, they don't understand where they are when they come here in America. They don't understand that drive a car, get a job that they make because of the struggle of the African American community. They see themselves as separated from the African American community because African culture is very different from African American culture. So African American, African, older Africans, very conservative and very critical. Like they judge African Americans a lot because they feel like the culture is too different. Things that they don't accept in the African community, they see that happening in the African American community. And that's the reason why they see themselves as separated. Now, us, the younger African, when I say younger African, I mean like from the early 20s till the 30s, we are a little more, we understand American community a little more because we communicate with them. We have friends that are African American, so we know the struggle of we might not feel it the way they feel it, but at least we have information about the struggle of African Americans. We know that it's thanks to them that we are able to be in this country as human beings. It's thanks to African American struggle and their fight that we are able to get a job and be a manager in a company and even be allowed to purchase a house or a land. We know that, the younger generation. So when I feel like African Americans feel some type of way about African, it's more because they probably had an experience with an older African. We are not like that. I know, and me, we are not like that. We understand that, hey, we need to come together and stand as one. We understand that. But the older generation, they don't understand that, and you can't really like blame them you can't really like put it on all Africans, because in most community, the older generation are always very, how can I say, they are always the most racist in most community, the older generation, because they don't understand how the new world works. So I don't think the problem here is Africans against African Americans, but I think the problem here is just older people that are unable to understand the younger generation.
Got you. Thank you for that input, my sister. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say Americans and African people. When I say African people, I mean the Africans in Africa. It'd be really hard for us to be on the same, because you have to understand that Africans in Africa in like a lot of survival mode compared to still focus on eating and surviving and meeting their basic needs for the most part. So when an African person comes to America, community, or like how can we improve the way police is interacting with Black people in the community. They're worried about how can I make money and eat and move back to my country and help my people. They don't think about the same. They're not at that level yet to think about, let's come together. They're still trying to survive, because over there we're colonized and the white man took everything, and most African countries can't even print their own money. But when the white man came to Africa, they met with the old indigenous and the old chief in African villages who could not read or write, and then they brought their own translators, and they made us sign some treaties that are lasting 500 years, 200 years. So some African country right now owe taxes to European countries for 500 years. A lot of them signed those treaties. They couldn't even understand the language. They couldn't. So Africa is really, really like locked down behind and crippled by these contracts. You know what I mean? And then so no matter how hard we try to fight, there's always these contracts. Taxes. Can you imagine when you sell something in Cameroon, for example, you pay 60% of taxes to France? That's not even half. You pay 60% of taxes to France. Now you got to pay also taxes to the country. And you end up with like no money. So no matter how much you fight hard to get out of the poverty cycle, it's almost impossible, because we have those contracts with the French. When an African try to succeed in Africa, they are unable to do that. And when they come to America, they're thinking about, they're on survival mode. So it's still $7 per hour to an African who just came from Africa, fresh from Africa. It's $7 per hour is enough to buy an African. Per hour is enough to buy an African, and that's the reason why it's going to be really hard for Africans and at the same level. Why? Because we're still way behind. Then if you think African Americans are behind, Africans are way behind, even way more behind than African Americans. And they did that on purpose, because they know that if Africa ever rise up, Like all the blacks around the world. All the blacks.
I'm with you. You preaching, mama. You preaching. Go ahead and give me your closeout statement. I want to get a few
I
more
just want to
folks
make
on here,
sure
but I agree with what you're
we
saying. You
you
on
know
point.
push away these hate between Africans and African American. And if you ever have a bad experience with an African as an African American, or if you ever have a bad experience as an African, I'm sorry, if you ever have a bad experience as an African American with an African, or you ever have a bad experience as an African with an African American, just consider that to the wrong person. You know, like the real Africans know, the real African know that we all share the same struggle. Target. They want to keep all of us down, because if an African person rise up, they know other black people are going to rise up. So we're all in the same boat, and we know that. The real Africans know that.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
them words, Queen. I appreciate you. All right, Mom. Well said from an African sister. Well said from my Cameroonian African sister. So that shows you right there, you got African brothers and sisters from the continent here in America who sees themselves as part of the family. That's why it's Pan-Africanism, a perish, unify or die. One race, one kingdom, one family, brothers and sisters. RBG forever. The only flag you need is the red, black, and green flag. The only flag you need is the red, black, and green flag. The only flag you need is the red, black, and green.
Hello, Dr. Umar.
Well, I can't see your face. Y'all gonna stop with these pictures.
I'm
Where
sorry.
you at? I want to see you.
You can hear me?
I want to see you. I can hear you.
Well,
I need to see you.
You can't see me because my camera is broke right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Everybody
My camera is
got a broke
non-functioning.
camera, huh?
But
Everybody got a
you
broke
can see
camera.
me on my YouTube channel, on my podcast,
Where you
and all of that.
based at?
I'm based in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit. Talk to me, princess.
So I agree with most of the things she was saying, but I see a lot of confused folks in the comments here saying, oh, we don't like Africans and us African Americans don't like you guys back. No. The thing is, well, I'm speaking from my personal experiences. How I look at it is you guys come to this country and of course looking for extra resources and like, oh, you guys have better opportunities here, when you guys can actually gather around yourselves in your own country, in your own African country, although we're all, you know, we're all one at the end of the day. But the problem is when you guys come here, they're going to automatically bless you guys way before they bless us. They're going to approve you guys for loans before they approve us for loans. And so you guys say, oh, we're more further behind than you guys. It creates more problems when all you could have did was really stay in your community, in your own country, gather around, create unity there, and then build from that. You can go from that. You guys can do the same thing you guys claim to do here in this country in your own Black country. And that'll make it way more, I feel like that'll make people around the world take us very serious, because it's just all not, it's just all a mess. It's all a mess. Everybody is going against the immigrants now, and it's not that we want to do that, but you guys are taking resources that don't need to be, it don't need to be like that. It don't need to be.
Let me ask you a question, Queen. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
According to some of the statistics I've seen recently, there are approximately 3 million African immigrants in the United States. 3 million. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris brought in 10 million migrants in 4 years. Or should I say most of them have come in 4 years. Most of those migrants were not African people. So my question is, why do we have so much smoke for the African immigrants, but they are at the bottom of the list when it comes to those who have robbed us the most? In other words, I don't see that type of smoke for the Latin American migrants that are being brought here. I don't see that kind of smoke for the rainbow gang that has appropriated so much of the civil rights struggles of our ancestors for personal gain. I don't see that smoke for the feminists. I don't see that smoke for the Arabs, the East Indians, the Latinos, the Chinese. African immigrants have siphoned off the smallest portion of the American African struggle, but it seems like we always take issue with them and we ignore everybody else who has appropriated the African struggle more. Why do you think we have smoke for the African immigrant, no smoke for the Latinos, no smoke for the rainbow gang,
because a lot
no
of us
smoke?
are uneducated. A lot of us is uneducated about that. And I wasn't just pointing out just us Africans. I am pointing out the Latinos, the Bermudians, and everyone, all the islanders, and I'm talking about all of the Venezuelans.
Right,
and we
but
got
again,
right.
But again, they are the minority of the immigrants. African, and when I say African, I'm speaking of any African, whether they from North, Central, South America, the Caribbean, Europe, Africa, just African.
Right.
They are not the largest group of immigrants. They're one of the smallest groups of immigrants. In fact, Southern European immigrants, Southern European, white folk from the Southern Europe, they are one of the largest bodies of immigrants who come here and get the social services that were originally intended for Black people, but we rarely discuss them. And of course, we know why, because so many Black men are trying to make them wives, so they definitely don't want to, demonize them. But, to me, it's hypocritical to have so much smoke for 3 million African immigrants when you have all these other immigrants and other minority groups in the country. For example, if Kamala Harris becomes president, you're going to see an East Indian immigration wave to this country like you've never seen before.
Right.
And guess what? We're going to still be talking about African immigrants. Why are you talking about? Homosexuals have taken way more from us. Latinos have taken way more from us.
Right.
You see, the Ukrainians, the Afghani refugees, these Latin migrants have taken way more from Black people than the African immigrants. And I just think that if you want to be critical of them, shouldn't criticism be equally distributed? I believe the African immigrants get way more criticism than they are entitled to. And then you have other groups. We won't even mention the homosexuals. We won't even mention the Latino. These are the groups that have taken more from the African American struggle, but we will go right back to African immigrants and make them a scapegoat, for siphoning off of services and benefits from Black people that they have not taken advantage of as much as other people because their numbers are not as great as other people. And then the other point to that, and not to say that this is you per se, Queen, here's my biggest issue with people Blacks who always want to blame African immigrants. And don't get me wrong, I know some nasty African immigrants who can't stand Black people, want nothing to do with us, absolutely in love with Caucasians. Just because I'm a Pan-Africanist, I am not blind that you have Negropeans, you got Africans, you got all kind of stuff. You see, so I see clearly. Believe me, I see it, but it's not most of them. And I know that the real African revolutionaries will never be allowed to come to this country anyway, because they know that they would organize with us. But here's my bigger issue. Don't you find it odd that we will criticize and condemn African immigrants in America, but we will eternally forgive and kiss the backside of Caucasians who have been responsible for our oppression for 4 centuries. So the people responsible for your oppression for 4 centuries get a permanent pass, permanent forgiveness, no smoke. Every time you see the Caucasian, you greet them with a smile. You're happy to be with them. You're marrying them. You're sending your kids to their schools. You're moving into their communities. These people are responsible for your enslavement, your degradation, your marginalization for 4 centuries, and it continues. We're in the 5th century now, 4 entire centuries, and we're 5 years into the 5th century. We have nothing but love for them. But the African immigrant, we got nothing but smoke for them. What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree that a lot of people do take their anger out on the Africans, the Black Africans that come here and don't have as much smoke for white people that have put us in oppression and is the reason and the cause of so much mental health issues that we all deal with. We all deal with it, actually. But my thing is, I'm not just specifically having smoke with them. I'm just saying a lot of them do come here and forget the actual goal that we all need to be doing. Like, don't be accepting all their free funds, all this stuff. Or if you do, make sure that you're putting it back into our communities. Don't go and, like the young lady just, you know, the Cameroon sister who were just on, she was just stating that, you know, everybody will come to this country and then go back and then spend their money elsewhere and take it back elsewhere and build. And it's like, then we're not going to have as much here left, you know?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to let you run so I could get a few more folks on. And great dialogue. By the way, good sister, I will be in Ypsilanti, Michigan, the first day of Black History Month in February. I'll probably be back in Detroit before then, but I'll be in Ypsilanti the first day of Black History Month. Let me hit you with this. Is the real problem the fact that African immigrants are not showing respect for the people who fought for the benefits that they benefit from? Is that the real issue? Or is the real issue that the American African community has allowed itself to remain financially and politically disorganized and weak?
Yeah.
Let me ask it another way. If we were organized without $2 trillion in spending power, hypothetically, let's say that the 50 million of us, if we were politically organized and economically organized, would we care about what little benefits African immigrants get at the expense of our ancestors' struggle in this country? Do you think we would care as much if we had our financial and political shit together? Would we give a damn about a few African immigrant brothers and sisters coming and getting some grants and jobs and some food stamps and some housing? Would we care if we were financially and politically organized? What do you think?
Well, that means we'll have some type of power, and then we'll then be able to regulate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So answer that question for me. Would we care? Would this be an issue if we had our shit together?
No. So
exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
So
It does start.
The real problem then.
Right.
The real problem is not the immigrant.
Right.
The real problem is Black people have done nothing for themselves as a group since Dr. King was murdered. And when other groups come and siphon off, it hurts us, not because they're siphoning off alone, but because we have stayed in the same place for 56 years. How do you expect not to get ran over when you have sat on your ass as a group? I'm not talking about individual achievements. I'm talking about the group. When you have sat on your ass as a group for 60 years, ain't built a hospital, a school, a factory for 60 years, and now other groups are coming here and benefiting from your struggle. We should be so far beyond this. The fact that a $2 trillion people is worried about immigrants coming and getting social services that they fought for is insane to me. It's insane. Why am I worrying about keeping him from eating? I'm supposed to worry about building myself into a global Black power structure. That's where the energy should be. In other words, and this is not you again, Queen, but I see us spending more attention on trying to pluck Africans off of the American African civil rights train, pluck them off. But we don't pluck off no gays. We don't pluck off no feminists. We don't pluck off no migrants. We don't pluck off no Asians. We don't pluck off nobody else. But we're going to pluck all the African immigrant brothers and sisters off when that should not even be a focus.
Right.
Because we don't decide if they get the resources or not. The government decides if they get the resources or not. We don't have no say-so. So rather than trying to keep them from getting something over which you have no control, although you fought for it, why not put your attention on building yourself into the next great Black power structure in Black Wall Street? I just believe we operate psychologically, good sister. We operate psychologically from a deficit perspective,
Right.
as opposed to a benefit perspective.
I agree.
Like, if you didn't know we were a true $1 trillion people, collectively speaking, because we do have poverty. Let's be honest, we have poverty, and wealth in Black America is also unequally distributed. We know that our celebrities have way more money than the rest of us put together. Well, excuse me, that's not true. Okay, but we do know our celebrities per capita have more wealth than the rest of us. So wealth amongst us is disproportionately, it's uneven too. But at the same time, we do have it.
Right.
We do have, there's everyday sacrifices we could make and put that money elsewhere. We don't need to have the most expensive clothes. Black women don't need to spend all that money on their hair. Black men don't need to be buying all these Air Jordans and fashionable clothes. We don't need to keep doing all these cruises and vacations. And like, there's enough disposable income that we could redirect into some positive investments if we gave a damn.
Right.
And I'm just tired of hearing about what the immigrants are taking. Listen, if I don't plan on being poor my whole life, why the hell do I care about what someone else is getting from poor people?
Right.
If I don't plan on being in the projects forever, why do I care there's other people moving into my project? The only reason why I care about other people moving into my project is I plan to stay there. And that's what bothers me about the American African when we talk about immigrants, Black and non-Black, African and non-African, coming here and taking what our ancestors fought for. They fought for that 60 years ago. They fought for that 60 years ago. You mean to tell me 60 years later, when your per capita income is tremendously higher than what it was in the days of Dr. King, 60 years later, you're still trying to keep people from getting benefits our ancestors fought for, instead of building the institutions and systems that we need? Why we have a poverty mindset. As a people, we have a poverty mindset. Whether we're in poverty or not is irrelevant. We have an impoverished mindset. We're trying to protect something we don't even control, as opposed to taking control over what we do have, and that is our financial resources.
So,
I want to thank you for your call, sister. That was a very good conversation. Thank you for that.
For answering. And you guys in the comments, I am not uneducated, actually, and I do know.
Don't pay them no mind, sister. I got all kind of coons, zest festers, rainbow gangers. Don't pay attention to my comments, please. I attract scum in the comments, so you can't pay them no mind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you have a great evening. You Black
too,
folks,
beautiful.
stay melanated.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Queen. One love. Make sure y'all hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Make sure y'all hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Make sure y'all hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. I'm working on a couple under 30-year-old Black political conventions. I'm working on a couple under 30-year-old Black political conventions. I want to see you at the Source of Knowledge bookstore in Newark, New Jersey, September the 15th. I want to see you at HBCU Edward Waters College, September the 26th. I want to see you in Nat Turner Land for his solar eclipse birthday celebration, October the 2nd. I want to see you in Toronto, Canada, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. I want to see you in Dallas, Texas, October the 12th. Harriet Tubman eclipse, October the 17th. I want to see you in England, the United Kingdom, October the 21st. I want to see you in Ghana, October 30th to November the 5th. Nat Turner Land, November the 11th. Sydney, Australia, November 16th and 17th. Sydney, Australia. We got the Dangerfield Newbie almost eclipse, November the 17th. Atlantic City, New Jersey, November the 20th. Las Vegas, Nevada, November the 22nd. Brooklyn, New York, December the 1st. I'm not worrying about no moderators. If you serious, you're not worrying about the comments, family. If you serious, you're not worrying about the comments, family. Y'all not tapping in. When I tap y'all in, y'all not tapping in.